Inspiring guest today. It's the fabulous Veronika Miller. Veronika Miller is a CEO and founder of Design Hounds and M2 Consultant Group, and is a woman whose husband developed the horrible disease of ALS, or as they call it, Lou Gehrig's disease, which could happen to anyone at any time, at any age. But this happened to Veronika, and she cared for him in her home until he passed from this disease. So, and to everyone else here, I want to welcome you. I am Lori Carpenter, interior designer and founder of The Third Phase. And I want to thank our sponsor, Life Ballet. Life Ballet is a manufacturer of stunning tile inset ready grab bars available in modular configurations that are ADA compliant. Life's full of possibilities, and your home should too. So be sure to check out all your possibilities at lifeballet.com, and you can also follow them at lifeballetNW on Instagram. So let me bring on my very special guest, Veronika Miller. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I really am excited to have Veronika join us. And she's coming on now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe she is. There
There
she
she
is.
is.
There she
We made
is.
it.
Hi.
Hey, it's so great to have you, Veronika. Though I know you have been through the ringer, as they would say,
Been
with
through the
life.
ringer, but life kind of always gives you new opportunities coming out of that ringer, so it's kind of all good. All good.
Yes, yes. Well, there is a lot of discussion in the news today about how people are having to deliver caregiving in their home. One of those people I know that are doing it. So let's dive in on this ALS, Lou Gehrig's devastating diagnosis that happened to you with your husband Ian, whom you married to before you even found out he had Lou Gehrig's. Was there warning signs? Was there something that maybe, that happened?
Slowly but surely, but really, really weird things. It's one of those things. Obviously, you never expect that to happen to anybody,
Yeah.
you know. um, the ALS community still, and especially government funding, treats it as a very rare disease. The funny thing is, though, it keeps increasing, and it's also striking more and more younger people, and that's just an environmental situation. So you don't have to be 75. You know, Ian was in his early 60s, and no, so you do not see this thing coming. You don't. But there are weird warning signs. There are, of course, testing, and some of it is genetic. You know, we quickly, once, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you quickly become a subject matter expert on something like that, and then realize that you know nothing at all. But yeah, there were some signs: dropping a glass of water, tripping when walking the dog, and he'd come home and say, "I feel like I have two left feet today. I just kind of tripped over my own foot." And I don't know even what that was all about. So stuff like that would happen, and kind of these weird falls randomly, and
Mhm.
all of that started. We moved during the pandemic to the house I'm in now over here in York, Pennsylvania, and within a few weeks there was just a little more of that. Of
Wow.
oh my God, I can't believe I spilled that, or I can't drop that, or I just couldn't get, was kneeling in the yard putting in a plant and couldn't get back up, that kind of thing.
Right, right. Wow, wow. Once you found out he had the disease, what happened next?
First, it was a series of misdiagnoses, and those are by design because doctors like to keep the ALS diagnosis for very last, because it's an absolute death sentence. There's no getting out of that alive. And so there were a couple of different things that the neurologist thought it could maybe be, all of which would be things like MS and all of that that might result in him long term being in a wheelchair, but not death. And so he had some treatments for that and briefly responded to those treatments too. So everybody was like, "Oh yeah, well that's what it is."
That's it.
ALS wasn't even on the table. We did about 6 months of that exercise of nurses here in the house, having him on different IVs. Um, he kind of snapped out of it again, then got worse again, and then it wasn't until the summer of 21 when he went here to Hershey Medical Center, um, because our neurologist in Lancaster said this is kind of out of my league right now. I think that's when she started suspecting, sent him to Hershey, and that doctor said, yeah, absolutely, this is ALS. I can see it a mile away. I'll do the tests, but you don't need me to do the tests. This is what it is. So immediately we said, it's Hershey. We're going to Johns Hopkins, and
Yeah.
we'll know better. This can't be happening. And sure enough, Hopkins confirmed it then in October of 21.
Oh, October of 21.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and this was during the pandemic still at that time as well, correct?
Yeah. So at some point we had to face the music, and then you kind of go into this isn't going to affect us mode. So you now know it better than everyone at the ALS center, and it's complete disbelief. It's not even, uh, there's no devastation associated with it. You're just now in fight mode. Oh, we're taking this supplement and these supplements and these things, and this is what I read. And poor Ian, I waterboarded him with different supplements. He kept saying, not
Yeah.
another shake. I'm like, yeah, you gotta have this, gotta have this.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, it was right in the pandemic. And this house was distinctly not built. It's a 1942 house. It's a beautiful old stone house, meaning it's got about a foot thick walls. And there is nothing easy to convert this thing ever. Any remodeling is a pain in the neck. And so I spent the latter half of 2021 and into 22 house hunting. We had just moved in here. It's a
Oh,
four-story house. It has stairs going up to the main floor, just up the front. It's
oh,
on a very steep slope. I mean, it was ideal for this situation.
yeah.
Um, Stairs everywhere, stairs to the bedrooms, stairs all over the place. And
Mhm.
during the pandemic, by the time 22 had hit, the markets was so impossible to buy anything in. I could have spent the same money on a little 1950s bungalow,
Mhm.
and we just couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. There was just nothing. There was no real estate to be had to,
Oh,
so we had to accommodate within the house versus getting out of here.
okay. So you did modifications to that house.
All of them, all of them,
Um,
like a fire drill. And so we really learned a lot about modifications, all the stuff that I, as a designer myself over years, would always also dismiss. I remember going to design school and they said, I can't have a quarter. My quarter doesn't fit in this bathroom. If you remember, that was always the
yeah.
the, the
Hmm.
quarter and scale drawing
Yeah.
problem. They'd show up with
Uh-huh.
their coin and going like, yeah, you don't have a turning radius. And as a
Yeah.
designer, you'd always say, yeah, but it's going to be so ugly if it has all that
Uh,
floor space. Guilty as charged. And
yeah, I was too. Especially I kind of shy away from commercial projects for that reason.
for
You
that
had to
reason.
put the exit sign. I'm like, that is so
The-
ugly.
It's so
And yeah,
It's so
yeah.
ugly. And then the grab bars and then this and that and this and that. And I don't want it. So I would, as a designer myself, I learned pretty early on that I was very good at blocking all the walls. Any
Yeah.
remodel we did, I taught myself. In fact, we made it an upsell. We kind of added,
Good.
essentially, um, dollars into the budget just to block the entire room. So we blocked our kitchens with plywood. We blocked the bathrooms with plywood, so we could always drill anywhere. And we knew that if it was our house, we could go in 10 years later and still put a grab bar anywhere.
Anyway,
Um, so that was, and people liked it. They liked to pay extra. They felt like it was more solid. So
right.
they we kind of got away with that one. Um, but here in this house, I didn't. So Ian moved to living in the dining room for about 5 months. Huge dining room because he couldn't make it up the stairs anymore.
Okay.
So he slept there. We hired a contractor, also very hard to find at the time, and blew out a
Mm-hmm.
wall in our library to make the library the bedroom. And now the library where I'm sitting actually right now has a fully accessible zero threshold shower, all the grab bars. And now that Ian's gone, this has now become the pool bath.
Oh, so you
But
have a
it's
pool now, or
not a
did
pool,
you
but a hot
always?
tub. So we use it
Oh,
as
okay,
sort of
gotcha.
the, but we made, and when we did this, we got these builders in through friend recommendations and ended up um, moving as quickly as possible to change this so he could live in the library with his kind of mobile adjustable bed and
Mm-hmm.
then have this bathroom. And we assumed that that was going to be a solution for a long time. The faster he went from needing a cane to walk to needing a walker to needing his first wheelchair, that was maybe a span of 6 months on the high
Oh, wow.
side, maybe even less than that. It was so rapid, and everything we did, we were always a day late and a dollar short. We just kept going, okay, well, we have the shower, except now he really can't even sit anymore. So
Right.
um, then we put in an elevator. learned
Um,
learned everything there was to know about elevators. The elevator required that we ripped out a major bearing wall, so now we had to remodel the entire kitchen that was attached to said bearing wall. We did a deck out back flush with the kitchen and a big wide open slider and a hot tub, so you could have that space and live on this ground floor here or first floor. And everything we did, I think the elevator we used twice with him. So we were just too late.
yeah,
And
it's too late. Oh, oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Um, what was there any financial grants or support or anything available, or did you have to self fund all of this yourself?
a lot of it. There are some grants that take forever to complete and to submit, and then eventually you get $7,500 here, $5,000 here. So there are a lot of initiatives from the ALS Society, but also from other smaller groups. And it really, I've never seen so much grassroots stuff that's happening. There's an ALS sufferer who happens to be a hobbyist, Brian Wallach. He's been living with ALS for the last 7 or 8 years and worked
Really?
on a movie about this with Katie Couric. And it has been watching him, and he created his own self-funded initiatives with a close ring of investors because there just isn't any government support because it's so fast. ALS
Yeah.
is, in a really weird way, um, it's just like somebody says you're gonna die, and then well, we're all thinking we all are. This is just the turbo version of that
Mhm.
process. It
Right.
is, and it's 2 years. It's very common from diagnosis. Uh, that's it. It's very, very frequent that you hit that 2 year mark, and that's kind of what happened here. But a lot of self-funded stuff. Weird things. We got first a manual wheelchair, then we learned, and I said, "Oh, that's all we need. I'll push you." And then he said, "No, I think I really need an electrical wheelchair." Bought that. And then we learned that with ALS, you need the big wheelchair, $35,000. Well, you can buy these things at various used medical equipment places for $5,000, but the insurance won't pay for them. They will only, and really